people are selfish. You know, that is good for you. But this is the case. It is a relationship. So it's not you, a relationship. We have to relate. So I'm supposed to you're about you, yourself, and what you need. I must feature in your expectation. My needs must feature in your expectation. My desire must feature in your my nature, my temperaments, my abilities must feature in your expectations. And then also there are relationships where we call ourselves Christians, but the expectations are worldly expectations.
I see.
All right. So it's an expectation, all right. But that expectation has no place in our Christian walk with God. So I get married with a lady, or I'm in a relationship with a lady who expects me to smoke. Expectation is that I like to smoke, so you must also know how to smoke. How can two work together except they be agreed? Or I like to go to club. Fast for me, I go to club every Friday evening. It's worldly. Okay? And then some expectations too are immature.
Okay.
That expectation all right, but it's immature. You know, you are in a relationship, but you have immature expectations. You are a grown-up boy, yet you are thinking like boys. Your expectation is like children, you know. And then we have this one, which is the most dangerous one, I think, is perfection. Perfection-based expectations. You know, you have an expectation, and you have a perfect thing in your mind. But there's nothing perfect in this world. The only perfect person is God. So if you want to have a perfectionist or a perfection-based expectation, then go and marry God. Or go and get into a relationship with God. But so long as we are dealing with human beings,
yeah,
there's no perfection anywhere. Alright, so it's important that we understand also God's design of relationships. Now, God designed relationships to be based on three things, and I'll explain. Number one, God designed relationships to be based on communication. Okay. That's why when Adam and Eve sinned and they were hiding in the garden, God said, I want to talk. So God came to them in the garden and said to them, Adam, where are you? Communication. And then also, if you look at how God handled the relationship between him, Adam and Eve, it was based on a lot of wisdom and a lot of patience. So the second pillar you want to take is wisdom and patience. All right. So the first pillar is communication. Second pillar, and this I'm talking about God-based relationship. Communication. Second is wisdom and patience. You need a lot of wisdom when you are dealing with people in a relationship. You need a lot of wisdom when you are dealing with people. When you are in a relationship with somebody, you need a lot of patience. I always say to people that marriage is hard work.
What?
It's no joke. It is hard work. And so you need to put that in your mind that marriage is hard work and apply a lot of wisdom and patience. Without patience, you won't get there. And then finally, the third pillar I want to talk about is covenant love. Covenant love. You have to love unconditionally. You have to love to the extent that your love for the person overrides your expectation from the person. That way, it makes you patient for the person. That way, when the expectations you are expecting from the person does not come, you are patient. Because the love overrides the patience. The love overrides the expectations. So, what we are saying is that we are not saying don't have expectations. Everybody needs to have expectations. But let the love, the covenant love, override the expectation. Now, every type of relationship has its way of expectations. So, for example, in marriage, I expect love, we expect respect, we expect loyalty, we expect support, and of course, we expect a lot of attention. Sometimes the mistake the ladies make is that it is the ladies who want attention and men don't want attention. But men are big babies, I tell you. Men need more attention than ladies. Don't be deceived. So attention is a big part of a relationship, and that is marriage. Then when you talk about normal friendship, you're talking about honesty, consistency, and trust. So it is trust that builds normal friendship. All right. So every relationship has its type of. So for example, if you come to church, in church we are talking. People want care, people want guidance, and people want leadership. All right, and they want to grow spiritually. That's the expectation in church. So you cannot bring the expectation in church into the expectation in marriage. They are two different things. So you realize that there's normally a problem where people over spiritualize the marriage.
Yeah.
Instead of dealing with the person like your wife and your husband, you are dealing with the person like a pastor and a member, a church member. Oh, I've met men of God who treat their wives like church members. And the way their wives handle them at home is the same way, handle them in church is the same way they have to treat. No, when you come home, it's a different ball game.
A different world.
And then we have expectations of the family, family, parents, expect obedience from their children. The children also expect care from their parents. So we need to understand that there are many different types of expectations. So I have what people say when it comes to expectations and what should actually be the case. So for example, when it comes to unspoken expectations, somebody will say, you should have known. No.
That's what
I shouldn't have known. Honest communication is important. Until you tell me, don't assume that I should have known.
No.
The person will say, if you love me, you understand. When the expectation is breaking my neck, you are telling me, if I love you, I will understand. No. Clarity and openness is important. Another will say, I expected more from you.
Not from you.
I expected more from you, but you never told me. And I think that is emotional blackmail. So you need a certain level of emotional maturity when it comes to your expectations. Then someone will say, why do I have to tell you? Why?
You should have known.
You should have known. But speaking your needs is as important as knowing it in your head. Because when you speak your needs unto me, and then I am able to take it on and see how I can meet you at the point of your need.
Yeah.
The scripture in the Matthew 5:37 says, let your communication be yea, nay. If your yes, let your yes be yes, and your no be no. Let us know. Make it clear. Because I have been in many cases of counseling. And I've realized that unrealistic expectation is damaging a lot of relationships. But no human being can meet every emotional need. No human being on earth can meet every emotional need. Some people expect perfection from others. You will not get it. I'm sorry, sometimes people say I'm blunt, but I say things in a certain way to make a certain level of impact. You will not get perfection from anywhere. Some people expect constant attention. You will not get it from anywhere. Because the person who is giving you the attention also have their issues. They also have their moods. They also have their situations. And you must understand when it gets there. Then, some people also expect unlimited availability. When you are available, you have to be available all times. But it's not realistic. See, when I was getting married, my uncle called me. And the first thing he said to me was, Sam, this is my advice to you. Anything you cannot continue, don't start.
Don't start.
And that has been with me from day one till today. And it has helped my marriage. Some people expect emotional healing, expecting that you have to heal me emotionally. So they have their emotional issues and they expect you to solve their emotional issue. Then, of course, some people also get into marriage and relationships expecting a financial rescue. It's unrealistic. You've had this problem all your life till you're 30 years. Go marry me today. Yes, sir. 1 year, you expect that me, I can solve all your problems.
Solve all of it. Let it all go away.
And then some people also expect flawless behavior. my behavior has to be on point all the time. Once in a while, I will slip. Like human being, I'm not perfect. Once in a while, I will slip. And when I slip, what happens? You be patient with me. So, the problem is not the expectation. The problem is the entitlement to the expectation. So, your expectation, all right. I don't have a problem with it.
No problem.
It is your expectation. If you want to drive a Bentley next month, when you have married a young man whose salary is only £1,000, and yet you want a Bentley next month, we don't have a problem with your expectation. But the problem is your entitlement to the expectation. If you want a Bentley, go buy a Bentley. I'll be happy with you. You give me a ride, we ride together. I'm not stopping you from buying a Bentley. But I have a problem when you expect me to provide for the Bentley that you expect to have. When I am not ready. I'm in a race, I'm happy to do it. But let's plan it together. Speak to me, let me know what is involved, and let's work at it together. Because if the expectation does not leave room for grace, or does not build trust over time, or does not encourage appreciation of what I am doing, and does not promote humility, and does not make it that, oh, this is my expectation, but I believe we can do it together. I mean, when my wife and I got married, she's here. We had big plans. But when we got married, we slept in somebody's house. And so I'm sleeping in that bed that night after honeymoon. And I'm asking myself, hey, all these expectations, all these things we have discussed that we want to do, and we are lying in somebody's room today, how will it happen? But little by little, grace by grace, God is bringing us there.
Amen.
So the expectation is good. But let's be realistic about it and let's plan and work at it together. Like I said from the beginning, yes, everybody must have an expectation. And it is good to have an expectation because, like I said, in starting this program, you all had expectations.
Yes.
If you join and your expectation is not being met, you will log out.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody is holding you. So it's important that we drop this idea of entitlement, because if you have an idea of entitlement, it takes out gratitude. It takes out, it breeds resentment, because you are expecting me to do something and I am not doing it and you are not getting it. So it brings the bringing up the cold treatment, and you are talking, you are talking as if you don't want to talk, you lose respect for the person, you treat the person anyhow because they've not met your expectations. You know, and it destroys love. Unmet expectations destroys love. So it's important that we look at things that way. I would advise that in order to balance your expectations, let's be patient. You need patience. You need understanding, because you have to recognize that people have weakness. Everybody has a weakness. You know, I met a couple about 3 years ago. The man had cheated on the wife, and we were talking. And the lady said, I didn't expect him to do this to me. I said, yes, that is why he's human. He himself didn't expect to do this to you. You think anybody gets into marriage and say, I want to cheat, or I will marry you and I'll cheat on you? No, he didn't plan to do that. But it has happened, and it's an issue we have to deal with. Little by little, we manage to deal with that issue, and they are still married and happy.
Amen.
All right, so, and you need a heart of forgiveness. You know, in a relation, you need to learn to forgive constantly and consistently. And you have to give room to grow. Like I said, my wife and I become from nowhere. But we gave ourselves room to grow. The expectations were still there. We discussed the expectations and we worked at it. All right. So I will stop here, and then I'll let Lady Red do a few more minutes, and then then we can start taking the questions.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Praise the Lord and good evening to everyone. Mama Sarah, lovely to see you. You are bright and shining. Okay, so Reverend Doctor has said so much, and the angle I want us to look at briefly would be some of the signs, in your relationship to make you feel that someone is expecting something and it's not coming forth, or maybe your expectation is not being met. And then a few things I want us to look at is constant disappointment. When you are in the relationship and your expectation is unhealthy, it hasn't been discussed, it cannot even be met, you realize that you are constantly disappointed, and it's not good. And that's how come, sometimes in the world and even in Christendom, it's becoming so real that there are divorce and all those things all the time, because you are constantly disappointed. You feel you made a mistake. But I always say that most of the things that we see in our marriages, or we see in the person before we got married, that's them. So sometimes the thing is that we think that we can marry and change them. That one is so unreal. I mean, so whoever you saw when you were courting, be sure that that's the same person you are getting married to. And even most often, whatever the good qualities are, seem to dwindle down a little. So you manage your expectations. If you don't see things like that, you will always be disappointed. And when you are always disappointed, it means gradually the relationship or the marriage is heading towards the rocks. Another thing also is that there are frequent offenses. I mean, sometimes the root cause of the offense is not being addressed because it's something that you know that they can't even meet. So other things that normally should not have gotten you angry rather gets you angry, because your expectations are all over the place. Sometimes you are just not able to even discuss it, and so you pick on things that shouldn't have been, any issue. And then so it looks like you're always quarreling, and maybe the person who is not meeting your expectation always feels inadequate because they feel what they did didn't warrant your action at this particular point in time. It's because your expectation is not being met. Your expectation is through the roof, and you are simply frustrated. And it can be a very dire place to be in a relationship. I mean, sometimes you realize that you feel old. You feel like somebody owes you, and in the relationship, feel like somebody owes you, but really. Nobody owes you. You have come into the relationship as a full person, and you have married, or you are in a relationship with another person who is also a full person. They are them, and you are you. They cannot meet all your expectations. And so when some things are not happening the way you want, I always say that the courtship period is the best time for us to be sure about what we are doing, and then we go into it. Because once you leave that session and you enter into the marriage, know that what you have is what you have. What you see is what you get. If anything good or extra happens, praise God. But when you go in with that expectation that what you see at the point of courtship is all you expect from the woman, is all you expect from the man, your marriage will even be starting on the right footing. And sometimes also, because of lack of or the presence of unhealthy expectation, you realize that sometimes people get so jealous. People get jealous unnecessarily because maybe somebody feels that, oh, he's my husband, he should always be by me wherever we go. Why is this lady talking to him? Why is that gentleman looking at my wife that way? And then you were expecting that maybe the way the gentleman said, oh, sister, you're looking so beautiful, and give her a hug. You would have thought that, I expected my wife to say that I am a married woman, I cannot hug you. What an expectation. So if even that is the case, it should be communicated. When that has not been communicated, you realize that, people becoming excessively jealous because of expectations not being met leads marriages to rocks all the time, because then always you are quarreling. Hallelujah. So these are some of the expectations that sometimes when they are not met, the marriage is always sour. It's not sweet at all. Because every time you are expecting that something should happen that is not happening. One thing that I think that we should do in managing our expectations is a few things that came to mind as we're preparing. It's for us to stop comparing ourselves with other relationships. We have our own journey. They are them. They have their own journey. Sometimes when we compare ourselves, maybe we are schoolmates, we finished school at the same time, or maybe in church we were in the youth together, or maybe we started work at the same place together. So we think that things should be happening for us at the same time. This man bought a house at this time and at this age. You, my husband, you have not been able to buy us a house. We are renting up until now. You are a very useless man, But if you compare like that, you'll be making a mistake. Your husband has his own journey, and that person who everything seems to be going so well for also has their own journey. So we should stop comparing our marriages. It will help us. And we should stop comparing our marriages to other couples in church, to other couples in our workplaces, to other couples, that we know from other places, people we grew up with and all that. Those things breed unhealthy expectations in relationships. And sometimes too, maybe we don't give enough grace. Sometimes it looks like maybe between my husband and I, maybe he's always thinking that, Angie is not doing enough, Angie is not doing this, Angie is not doing that. But maybe he's saying all that and he's not seeing his own inadequacies because I am extending too much grace. I am not being judgmental. I am not picking on his faults all the time. So it might confuse him to think that he is perfect. It might confuse him to think that he's perfect because I don't always come up with his flaws. But when someone too is extending so much grace, you should also identify it and do same, because when we are not reciprocal in extending grace in a relationship, we realize that within a short time, one person feels like they are sent from hell or something, or they can't do anything right. But meanwhile, if they also decide to keep a record of your sins, you will realize that the home will not be a peaceful place for either of you. So I think that it's not talking too much about your issues, and they are always, bearing with you. That's the point where you also have to focus on their strengths and bear with them gradually, talk about your expectations, yes, but let it not be like in the form of attack all the time. Let it not be in the form of attack, because there are so many ways we can say the same thing. So many ways we can say the same thing. So many. I want to give a typical example. Sometimes maybe maybe I travel and then I come back and maybe our room is a bit messy or something. Instead of maybe saying that, hey, this time that I left you there, you see, as usual, the whole place is turned upside down. But rather, when I come and we are having a chat and I start picking around, before I realize, my husband will also get up and start picking around with me. Before you realize, we have cleaned up, But sometimes the same issue has been solved, except that one person would have said that, you dear, every time, when I come, hey, maybe come on bed, you cannot lay, or something. Something we say things that pierce through the heart of our partner. But you think that because I don't know what we think, whether sometimes our spouses are not human beings, maybe they are rude. Because sometimes we say at all. You couldn't have taken it at all in any way or form. So that's the same way that sometimes when we are expecting things, we can even lead with that expectation, and you realize that it will eventually become reciprocal. It cannot be one way always. Cannot be one way always. And I also believe that apart from communication, which is very important, we should define our roles and boundaries well. We should define our roles and boundaries well. And always I say that, Mommy, we should be guided by the Bible. Because the Bible tells we the women to be submissive. The Bible tells the man to love. So when that is in place, you realize that when you, the woman, you are submissive, the man will naturally love you. And when you, the man too, you are loving the woman will naturally submit. Let us play our roles per the Bible. And I believe that our homes will be sweet, our expectations will be managed in so many ways. Mommy, I'll leave things up here. I don't know if Reverend has any more he needs to share.
Let's jump into the questions. I'll share a lot more.
Okay. Oh, thank you. That is amazing. You know, you're both coming from the same topic but different angles. Okay. One of the things I realized when Lady Reverend was talking about is that we have too much expectations, but we forget that we also have a role to play.
Thank you.
You're expecting your partner to be perfect. What about you?
Yeah.
Because the Bible says that do unto others what you expect them to do unto you. Have you been able to meet their expectations? Or is just your side of expectations that we are looking at? When you're in a situation like that, Doc, what do? Where it is one standard of expectation. Like Lady Reverend is saying, you are okay, I'm doing my own, I'm doing my own. It's because the other person is not talking. So if on the other end, when you are receiving all the blame, what do? Because sometimes these things can create tensions in the home.
Yeah, it's true. You want to take it, so you want to start off with
You can start off.
Okay. So, you see, your expectations reveal your level of maturity. So it is important that you show maturity. You know, when the other party's expectation is going through the roof and they are thinking high and they are not giving you room to even I don't know how to go about it, but we need to. So I get married to someone and I'm expecting something so unrealistic from them, and I am demanding it. You know, you owe it to me. This is what I expect, and it must happen. And it is not happening. It will break the relationship. So I think that we should apply a high level of maturity to our expectations in relationships. And when you apply that level of maturity in a relationship, the maturity affects your expectations. So it makes your expectations very realistic. And it helps you to be able to deal with the other party in a very equitable way. So what we are asking for here is equity.
Okay.
Equity. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. Yeah. So for example, my wife and I, there's something we do, and maybe I'll share it so that you can also do it. So she does something wrong, or I do something wrong, and I know that this one I've goofed 100%. She will look at me and she will laugh. And then she will just talk about it and laugh it off. No hurt feelings. And then when she also does something, I esteem grace. I say, Miss now, and then they will now. They will just laugh about it. No anger about it. It's just normal. So because we understand that human beings are not perfect, we understand that we make mistakes. So let's make room for these things so that if things go on, we extend grace, like she said earlier. And then we move on. I don't know if you want to add anything to it.
I think you've said it all.
Thank you. Extend grace. Extend grace. Mercy, Lord. Have mercy on us, God. One of the first questions that we got is, how do I support my partner when he is going through a difficult time that they haven't said anything to you about, but you can tell they are going through a difficult time? How do you support them?
Okay. See, marriage, for me, okay, so what I do is that I do not see a difference between my partner and myself. I believe that when my partner is going through a difficult time, I am also going through a difficult time. All right. And so, because whatever affects her affects me. Scripture says the two shall become one. Yeah. So, what you do is that you see their problem as your problem.
Okay.
So you don't leave them to deal with it alone. You could kill them. But you find a way for you both to deal with it together. And depending on the type of problem, don't be judgmental. Because maybe if it were you, so for example, me, and the best example you can give is our age. My wife is patient and she's slow to take action. Me, I'm gra. I move, I take action, I deal with it, I get it out of the way.
Yes, we go.
So there are situations where I realize that she's having a challenge. And if it was me, this is how I would deal with it. So I prompted, so how far? She says, oh, don't worry, I'm handling it. Another time. And so that we plan and agree on how to go about it. After 1 week, I asked her, make soup. So it's more like that's the Arabic language. So I'm on it. But you see, you have to realize that you are two disjoint, two different people, grew up under two different circumstances and conditions. There's different ways in which everybody handles their issue. So if you have a problem and I want to help you resolve your problem, I have to help you resolve it your way, not my way. What I do is to support you, give the necessary support for us to resolve it your way. Some people are not confrontational. Others are not. Others are confrontational. So you do not expect a partner who is not confrontational to go and deal with an issue in a confrontational way, the way you would have done it. It will worry their spirit.
Yeah.
So it is important that yes, we enter the mind of our partners. It is important that we join our partners to resolve their issues in a very realistic way. And it is important that we have their view and ask them, how do you want us to resolve it? And help them to resolve it their way. Let's also bear in mind that sometimes when our partners have issues, sometimes they just want you to listen. They're not telling you because they want you to take action. So sometimes just listening to them is enough solution to the problem. So people have issues, you are not even ready to listen, you are not helping them.
Yeah, I think you've said it all. And when people have issues, or your partner is going through something, and you really want to support them, I mean, you like Reverend Doctor was saying, you have to understand where they are coming from, so that you can give the necessary support. If you don't get where they are coming from, how they even see things, like he said, people have different perspectives. So how they even see the issue, you know, you may not be able to help them. But the most important thing is that, like he said, once your spouse or the person you're in a relationship with has an issue and you identify with it and you see that the person's issue is your issue, that is like 50% of the problem solved. Because then you are willing to help in whichever way the person expects you to help. Whether they want you to just listen, whether they want guidance, whether they actually want you to even take action on their behalf whatever the expectation is, once the partner feels that you are in it with them, they are willing to even share, because sometimes people have issues in marriages and they cannot even talk about it because some of the partners are prejudiced, because if maybe your husband feels that you are a quarrelsome person, and someone and has formed that conclusion about you, and someone is harassing you in the office, sometimes even before you start talking about it, the person's prejudice is already in the way that, this one there, I'm sure, what did you do? The first question will be like, what did you do? Because your husband is already prejudiced that you are a quarrelsome person. So sometimes we should, when our spouses have issues, possibly we should drop some of the prejudices we have about them, because we are in the marriage with them, we know each other better than most of the other people. Maybe sometimes even their own mother or their own father, things about the person that they don't know. So yes, you know so much about the person, you know their dispositions. But when people have issues, let's drop it or try to listen and give help where we are able to. Yeah.
And then also, you see, there are some of the situations too, you need to move in and take action when you know that this thing is killing my partner, but then they are not ready to move. You move ahead of them, take action, and solve the problem on their behalf, and they'll thank you for it. Right? I've done that many times.
Thank you, Lady Doc and Lady Reverend. Another question that I was just thinking about: do you think that it's because one person in the relationship all the bitter pills and doesn't say anything that makes the other partner feel that they have an upper hand or their expectations are not met, so they are constantly reminding the other person that you are not doing what you're supposed to do, just because they are not complaining. Yeah. So it looked like it's all you, and I'm perfect.
Exactly.
So how do you handle that? Because maybe
that one I would say that sometimes you should also withdraw a bit of your grace, so that they would know that indeed they are not perfect.
So are you talking fire for fire?
Not fire for fire. Times, maybe, sometimes you have to bring people to a certain place of awareness, because and you find it a lot with women because of how the Bible makes or the Bible says we should be submissive, and so there are things going on in our homes that the woman even feels they are not permitted to even talk about it. Sometimes people understand this submission in strange ways. Sometimes people feel that they are not even permitted to talk about some of the issues. But because of that, probably the husband feels that, as for them, there's nothing wrong with them. Everything about them is clean, is pure, they are perfect and all that. But when they are always speaking on you, when your wife is always speaking on you, when your husband is always speaking on you, I think that for a moment, just think and then just withdraw a bit of the grace. Just point out some of the things that they also do that you wish could have been done better, but you have come to live with. Once you bring those things up, you let them know that it's not because I enjoy this or I like this, but because I have accepted who you are. That is why I don't talk about it. So sometimes, just bring certain things up to say that, the fact that every morning maybe we have to look for your shoes is burdensome. Maybe I haven't told you. So you think that is cool for when we are always all getting ready to go to work. I have to get ready and now come and look for your shoes. And because I've done it over the years, you think I'm okay with it. Let me let you know today that it's not so okay for me. So some of the things are there that either party has been doing for the other, and they think it is normal. They think it is not. It has come to be, to become normal. But then, if you realize that your partner is always picking on you, you have to let them know a few things that you are bearing on their behalf, or on the other end, which you have decided not to talk about, which you've decided to extend grace over. And then for most reasonable people, they will realize that then it's not like I am that perfect, but it's because the other person always, is accommodating. So sometimes we say that, maybe because we are Christians and all that, Christian lady, always be quiet, and always, whatever your husband says is correct and all that. I am not encouraging strife, but in a very nice way. Talk about things that you are dealing with on your side, which is not that easy. But you are being accommodating because you want this marriage to work. Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is spot on. And you spoke about the submission. When you look a critical look at Ephesians 5, before he started telling the husband, love your wife, wife, submit to your husband. The 21 says that submitting to one another in the fear of God. So submission is not only one-sided. But these days, when you talk to men about submission, are you trying to tell me I should seek permission from my wife? I don't know how that one works, but Jesus is Lord. Amen.
I think they don't understand the submission. I mean, submission doesn't mean if you ask permission, you are being forced to ask permission. Even the wife, when we say the wife should submit, we are not saying the wife should ask permission from the husband. So I think understanding the word submission itself, I think the word submission itself has love in it. There's love embedded in it. So you submit lovingly. So the fact that my wife, I am in the house and my wife says, "Oh, honey, can you please wash the bowls in the kitchen for me?" I mean, it's a form of submission, but you are washing the bowl in love. You see, so we need to understand how love plays within submission and how submission plays within love. They are intertwined.
I think we need a whole talk on submission, because it's breaking a lot of homes and it's bringing a lot of misunderstanding in relationships.
Yeah.
Another question that we have is, how can you provide a safe space to explore expectations in a relationship?
Space to explore.
I think that safe space to explore expectations. I think that safe place will be communication. I think it would be communication, and let's find time for it. Sometimes our everyday life is so busy that we are not even able to find time to talk about serious matters. Maybe it can be a Friday night. Maybe it can replace a movie popcorn session. It can be a communication popcorn session where I like to cook a lot on ice. So maybe you serve some coke on ice, some popcorn, and it becomes a communication session where you guys can just talk about any and everything, and maybe you set the rules before you start the communication, that to say, promise you will not be angry, promise you will not be disrespectful, so when you set the rules to say that in your communication, don't be disrespectful, or when I come across also, try to see my point, don't be angry. Like, you set a few rules, put your coke and popcorn down, and then you ask each other who shoot first. Cover things about yourself that you didn't think even existed. Because you have become open with each other, and because of your ground rules, you've received feedback in a very good way. And I always want to chip it in that before you give any feedback that has the potential to be negative, start it with praise. Start it with praise. Start by talking about the good thing about the person, and then follow up with whatever is not going too well. That way, your partner or your spouse will be more receptive of the feedback. You know, they will be more receptive of the feedback and will not feel like, you just want to, this is something you are harboring, and this is an opportunity and you are just, spewing it out and all that. When you start with praise, the person will see from the onset that it's not like you see things from a negative point, but you think that this area can improve. This area can improve. So set the environment and talk.
I believe this if everybody would take it on board, it will change a lot in our lives. The challenge I have when I'm doing counseling is that people sometimes try to communicate, but I don't know if the spouses hear them or they just listen. Because you can listen and not hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge that I want us to look at a little bit of it tonight. That when we are communicating, how do we communicate that you will know that the spouse has understood what you're saying? Because you see, you can be communicating with somebody and actually you're just talking at each other. You are not communicating anything. Okay? So in what ways will you say that, okay, I'm going to hit this thing on the nail, not to hurt you, like Lady Angie said, not to hurt you, but to bring home something that would actually change your life, or because we have different ways of communication. Let me give you a practical example. When I got married, I've got a loud voice. Okay? My voice is strong, and so when I am serious about something and I'm talking about it, you might think I'm upset or I'm angry, or because my voice is loud. And in some few years, I think about 2-3 years into the marriage, I realized that every time I'm talking, my husband won't say anything. He won't stop. He'll just listen to you and say, okay. And then at the end of it, when I am ranting, you just listen to. He will not say a word. Then at the end of the day, he will ask you, are you okay? Now, initially, that really angered me more, because it means that all I've said, you are asking me if I'm okay. That's all you heard. But with time, I realized, no, something is wrong. Why is it that I'm the only person that is always going on and on about something, and he doesn't say anything? So one day, like Lady Angie said, I sat down with him and I said, I realized that every time I'm the one that corrects things in this relationship. Does it mean that I don't do anything wrong? And he said something that hit me, and that changed my perception. It's not that you don't do anything wrong. It's because I choose not to see the wrong. For me, that was it. That was the whole communication I needed. He said, it's not because you don't do anything. It's because I choose not to see it. So you do it, but I ignore it because I choose not to see it. It made me look, God is my witness, it made me look stupid. So it means that I'm choosing to see all his wrongs, and he's choosing not to see mine. So I have to do a 360 spin and decide, okay, let's all go on this line. If you choose not to see my wrongs, I'm choosing not to see yours.
Bingo.
So sometimes, is it a communication that is not going right? Because I understood what you communicated in one sentence. So what do you think we can do? What can be done? What can be done to fix this issue of I've said it and said it and said it? Because one of the questions from the audience is that, what about people who keep changing the goalpost? in their own expectations, which goes beyond growth. Because today is this, tomorrow is how?
Sarah, say
How do we help it up?
Okay, so
Because the communication must be clear. Today you don't like popcorn. Tomorrow you didn't buy me popcorn. Which is what?
Lady Rev, you see, I have come to the point after 21 years of marriage.
Oh wow.
My conclusion is that it is not every problem you can solve. So, after 5 years of marriage, there are some things you must accept. If you want peace, accept them. Okay, because like Lady Rev said, you cannot change anybody. And if it is something you've been complaining about from day one of the marriage and after 5 years they are still doing it, two options: either you go for a divorce or you stay in it quietly and be happy. And I advise to stay in it because there's no perfect person out there. What you go for out there is worse than what you are living with. I think also that people are concentrating on the minors and leaving the majors. So we need to come to a point in our relationship and look at the person you are married to and ask yourself, what are the good sides of this person? Take the good sides and run with it. The bad sides, manage it. But I have people concentrating on the minors, the little things, and leaving the majors that we can actually take advantage of and make the marriage better. Like Lady Rev said, he said, you said something, you said, I choose not to see. It's not because you are perfect, but I choose not to see. You see? So it is important that we look at things in this way. Now, coming to the substantive question. The answer to it is that cool words win hard hearts. So the problem is there. We have to deal with it. But the way we deal with it is even more important than what you are dealing with. The way you go about it. You can either have a go at the person or have a nice way to talk about it and deal with the issue nicely. At the end of the day, what do you want? You want to deal with the matter. You don't want to fight over the matter. The concentration is not on the fight, or the concentration is not on the screaming or the shouting. The concentration is the solution. So whatever you will do to get the solution to the problem, let's do it and get it out of the place. And remember one thing Lady Rev said, let's extend grace. And let's be patient with one another. Talk about it in a very patient way. And let's also, there's one thing I learned whilst growing up. When we are dealing with an issue today, let's not bring issues of the past. We have dealt with the past. It is gone. The issue we are dealing with is today's issue. So don't say, and yesterday you did this, and the last time we spoke about it, you said this, and you upset the person. And the moment you put the other party on the defensive, you are not getting anywhere. And it is not everything to you that you will talk about. Some of the things, you've seen it, you know it is bad. You can keep quiet, let it slide.
Let it go.
Yeah, sometimes let it slide. You've seen it clearly, this one is bad. But you let me look at this. Next time it happens, we'll deal with it. Because we are not perfect. People make mistakes. So the fact that I've made one mistake doesn't mean you should crucify me. It's like we are hunting each other and looking for problems. And so my expectation is a perfect expectation. You sleep a little, I got you. We are not in the business of attacking each other. We are not in the business of finding faults with each other. We are not in the business of bringing each other down. We are in the business of building each other and building a home. And so that should be the goal. You want to add something?
I think you've said it all. And just a little bit to add, to say that always changing the goalposts and um, uh, being never satisfied. If you say maybe today I want maybe custard, the person gives you custard and you say, oh, how come you never make Horlicks or something, and it becomes too much. And you see, we should all, like mommy said, we should all see when we have good men, good women around us. We should all see and appreciate it. Sometimes when we have people who don't talk back at us, or something, we feel that maybe it is the time where you have to just keep attacking the person, because seemingly the person doesn't defend themselves. The person, or the person always seems to make it look like, oh, okay, is that what you want? Oh, okay, and all that. But doesn't mean that it should be like a bucket full of requests all the time, and it is like the person is inadequate. The person cannot even satisfy you in any way. The person is not even your idea of a good woman, because every time you are demanding one thing, just when they feel they've been able to do it, you say, no, it's this one rather that I was expecting, and all that. But you see, if you frustrate your wife or you frustrate your husband, eventually you yourself, you wouldn't be happy, unless some people that they call sadists, because they are the only people who every time when they are making you, they are pressing you down, they seem to become happy. But the normal person, once you are always putting pressure on your partner in terms of, oh, you are not doing this right, you are not doing that right, you yourself, eventually you will not be happy. So if you want there to be a happy home, and happiness can never be according to one person. Sometimes when you want to be happy, let's all be happy. Like, you are the climate of the marriage. When you are happy, we are all happy. And when you are sad, nobody dares to smile and things like that. No, I mean, then it's like manipulation. Let's all manage the expectations. Let's give room, and we've said a lot about giving grace. Let's continue to give grace whilst we all change, because like Reverend Doctor said in the beginning, we are all not perfect. We cannot be perfect. Maybe we'll be perfected when we get to heaven, but whilst we are here, we are all inching towards perfection. So let's keep being patient with each other whilst we change. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Reverend. One thing you said, we ourselves, sometimes I ask people, do you know what you want? Because sometimes it looks like we're expecting something from our partners, but we don't even know what we want. You go through phases in life as a woman. I can only speak as a woman. There are so many times that I keep changing my favorite color. There was a time my favorite color was green, then it changed to jade, then it went to black and white, then it went to brown. I remember one time my late husband bought me something and I had gone past that color. He said, oh, I bought your favorite color. You took it, and I said, no, this is not my favorite color. So he just looked at me and said, when did the color change again? Because when I was not taking the mood for that one. I don't like the color, but I was not in the mood, and I didn't communicate it. So he went to buy what he thought was my favorite color. When he came and said, no, that is not my favorite color. My color has changed. Then he just looked at me and said, I give up. Now whatever color you want, let me know. So sometimes you yourself, you don't know, because the feelings of a woman changes every time. And that can affect the relationship. So what do we do? I'm saying this to ask this question. How do I deal with a partner who makes you a villain in every situation? Always finding faults, even when you make the effort to meet their expectations. Is it okay to always apologize for every unmet expectations or flaws just to keep peace in the relationship?
No, it's not okay. See, most of the time, sometimes we confuse peace with reality. Okay, because you want peace, you are allowing yourself to be branded in a certain way that you are not.
And be bullied.
And be bullied. That's
Bullied.
You are being bullied, and you are saying because for the sake of peace. No, speak up. Speak up and let them know. You see, David spoke about communication. In a relationship, you have to. One of the expectations in a relationship that you have to let me know how you feel. And you have to let me know how you think. I'm not a magician. I cannot know it. And so, if I keep treating you that way, you have to speak up. Because see, this relationship is a long journey. How long can you keep quiet? You will die before your time.
And they are dying. Spouses are dying.
You know, you will die before your time. So if there's something you're being made to feel some way, speak up, have a discussion about it. It should be normal for spouses to be able to have discussions about issues. Bearing in mind that nobody is perfect. I am not perfect, you are not perfect. And in doing that, bear each other's temperaments in mind.
Yeah.
It is important that you, because most of the time in a relationship, we say we have the sanguine, we have the choleric, we have the melancholic, and then we have the phlegmatic. Now, the cholerics are the bullies. So if you are married to a choleric, they will make you feel like that every time they are attacking. The sanguine will deal with the same issue in a very jovial, happy, easy-go-lucky way. The phlegmatic will see it. I've seen it, but I've not seen it. They behave like the phlegm, you know. And the melancholic, they don't talk. Country broke, country not broke. We did inside. It doesn't help. So what we are saying is that I think that in a relationship, you must talk about everything. Do not allow yourself to be bullied. If you do not know how to go about it, get somebody he or she respects to come into the matter and deal with it. Because if you allow yourself to be bullied, you will die. And if you die, we will bury you and marry another. So please, we beg you, don't allow it.
Right. What about, this is another aspect of relationship that I've found that we see a lot of, and most of the time, forgive me, I might be wrong, but it's the men who say, I don't want my matter to go out. I don't want anybody to hear about my issue. Women are more flexible in spilling it out to get answers. But you see a man say, I don't want to go. And the thing is eating you out. So what do you do?
Okay, so since it's let me talk.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, men are private people most of the time. And for men, sometimes, if their issue goes to certain people, it bruises their ego. That is why you need to have levels of handling this matter. So when you speak to the person one-on-one, you've tried many different. You don't just jump out and take the matter out.
Yeah.
It's at the point where the thing is getting out of hand and it is killing you. You know? And please, when I say take it to somebody they respect, never take it to their family member because you will lose. Okay? Take it to everybody has somebody, a neutral person they listen to. Everybody has a neutral person they listen to. So, as much as possible, I'm of the firm belief that partners should deal with issues on their own. It is possible to deal with issues on your own. But when you have tried to deal with it on your own, and you realize it is getting out of hand and it is killing you, because it is not killing him. He wants it to stay with you so that you keep bullying you.
Yeah.
But when you get the point where it is killing you, if you don't want to die, please get help. It is important to get help.
Thank you, Lou and Doc. Another question is, I'm having some questions that are a little bit out of the topic, but it's important.
That's fine.
How am I able to tell if sincere apology is sincere?
Okay. Yes. Maybe sometimes people feel some of the apology is is just to get you off their back. But some of the apologies are also sincere. You sometimes it's difficult to tell the difference. But when you are giving people benefit of the doubt, you will take the apology as it is. And then to the one apologizing also, the best way of showing remorse is not to repeat that same action. Because when you apologize and the next time you do the same thing and you do the same thing and you do the same thing, that is where the other person will feel like the apology has become like maybe a window that you jump through every time you do or you take that action. So yes, however the apology comes, I feel that in extending grace, you will take it as it is. And the one who has offended, the best way to actually show that you meant the apology is not to repeat that action. That's the best way to let your partner, wife, husband be sure that you actually meant what you said. Yeah.
I think you said it all. For me, the fact that the person has managed to even apologize. How would you tell whether it's genuine or it's not genuine? You're not in their head. You see, so the fact that they've managed to do it, but like Lady Rev said, the actions after that is very important. So I keep coming and doing the same thing and apologizing, and I go back and do the same thing again. It means you're really not sorry. So Lady Rev, thank you for that answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Another question. After an argument, do you need to talk it out immediately or do you need time and space to process?
It depends. It depends. Okay, so sometimes you need time and space. Sometimes the immediate action is important. So you have to gauge the environment, gauge the mood, and you have to know your partner.
Yeah.
All right. There are some partners here, when issues happen, they want to be quiet. They don't want to talk. They just want to be quiet. If you are married to such a person, allow them to breathe. Allow them to calm down and then deal with the matter. There are people also who you can deal with the issue immediately. So you need to apply wisdom, like we spoke earlier, wisdom and patience. That's what God wants. Be patient, apply some wisdom. This matter, do I deal with it immediately or do I wait a little for him or her to calm down before we deal with it? And there are issues too that you have to deal with it immediately. Immediately. Don't allow room or air to pass over it. It will destroy too many things before you deal with it. So you handle it quickly and immediately. So it depends on the matter. It depends on the situation. But apply a lot of wisdom. Yeah.
Okay. Because some people are of a firm belief that when something happens there and then we have to trash it out because the Bible says don't let the sun go down on your anger.
But at the same time, to tempest may be so high that some of the words or the exchanges that may happen at that moment, if you go off and think about it, you will wish you had said it in a different way. So if you have that much hold on your emotions, by all means go ahead and talk about it. But when we all know ourselves better, and we should make sure that our emotions are in the right place, especially if we want to address things here and now. My husband always says that when you are angry, you will say things that at the moment you think is the wisest thing you said, but when you wake up in the morning, you realize that you said the most foolish thing you have said in your entire life. So I mean, depending on where you are, you just to know if your emotions are at the right place and you can manage that conversation, go ahead. But if not, give it some time, process it, and then have a conversation. And I pray that you are not like me. Sometimes personally giving time to think about it. Maybe I'll go to bed, wake up the next day, and I even forget that I'm supposed to be having an issue with you and come and talk to you normally. Then after about 2 minutes of the talk, I say, I'm not supposed to be talking to you because
so that's exactly what I was actually going to talk about that, because that's what I said earlier. I didn't want to bring in personal examples, but I said earlier that you need to know your partner, right?
Yes.
She gets angry, 1 minute she'll forget right now. So if she gets angry and you also get angry, you spoil the matter because she just wanted to deal with an issue. Her anger is just here, and she's forgetting. Me, I don't get angry often. When I get angry, it takes long. So you need to know your partner. It's very important. One free advice from me to men. From me, take it from me to men on this platform. When you are angry, keep quiet. Don't talk. It shows a certain level of maturity. When there are things happening in a relationship, immediately you've seen it. It takes you off. Calm down. Keep quiet. You can be quiet for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. If you want to take a drive, calm down. Then you realize that, even the thing cries, not a big deal.
Nothing.
Because we shouldn't forget that the devil also works. The devil doesn't want our marriages to work. He knows your weak points. So you keep hitting your weak points. So one thing I practice is that when I see something and I don't like it and I'm not happy with it, I go quiet. And over the years, she's also gotten to know that when this man goes quiet for about 5 minutes, because in my house we talk a lot. I didn't used to talk. I didn't know how to talk. I was a quiet person. But I married a woman who can talk 1 million sentences in 1 minute. So I've also come to the point where sometimes I can't talk. So when you can't admit that, there's no dull moment. We are always talking. But for example, I go out and I come in and I see something I don't like. I'll keep quiet. I won't talk about it. Take a shower and do this. But by the time I finish taking shower, I've even forgotten. And then we start laughing again. So it's not every issue you must talk about. It's not every issue you must address. It's not every issue you must fight over. Some of the things, Charlie, let's go. Just let go. And let peace prevail. But know your partner. Know how your partner deals with issues. Know how your partner's expectations when it comes to certain things. Thank
you. Sometimes when you talk about things like this, giving you examples, people think that it means you're in a perfect way. No
perfection anyway.
It's an intentional effort that you put in a relationship that makes it become what it has become. There was one time I was in Ghana. My husband was in Canada, and I was driving with my brother. And my husband called. We were talking about something, and I was charging the phone, so I put it on speaker. And he didn't know that my cousin was with me. So as he was talking, I said, "Oh, Papa, I'm driving. You let me get home." And then he said, "No. Look, I'm not talking to you. I will Chocobila. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm talking to you. You're telling me you're driving home. Okay, I'm not talking to you anymore." And he hung down. And I was quiet. I said, hey. Then I told my cousin, I said, "Give him time. You call again." After 5 minutes, he called again. And I said, I thought you said, "I'm Ochokobla. Why are you calling me again?" And then the next thing they said was, "I mean, I made that you." Mean bend up you know you. That I'm bragging. So what? Shouldn't I be bragging? Today, it's become the thing between me and my cousins. I mean, I made that you. Because he has never seen him like that before. And he laughed his head off. Said, "Hey, so he went off, not because he's upset, but he said, "Okay, you say you are driving, so I'll leave you." But then he thought about it. "No, why should I leave you because you are driving? I want to talk." We want a bit of fun and joke and things to the relationship to make it a bit more flexible than everything is by the book. It's okay. Let me ask the next question. Otherwise, we'll go on and not answer the next one. It says, where do you draw the line between our non-negotiables and our casual preferences? Where do we draw the line?
Okay. I think first of all, it will start with you yourself. Identifying what is a non-negotiable and what is casual. You know, and when you finish identifying what your non-negotiable is, I think that think deeply about what your non-negotiable is and put it in the world. You know, when you do a bit of law, they say that certain rules are determined by the reasonable man. Okay, so whatever you say is non-negotiable for you, throw it to the reasonable man. Take it to the ordinary person and ask yourself if it would also be a non-negotiable for the ordinary person. So that once you throw a bounce it back and it comes back to you as a non-negotiable, then you can be sure that it is a non-negotiable and not something that is an unrealistic demand. Okay, so once you are sure that it's a non-negotiable, you need to communicate it, because the person, your spouse, will never know what your non-negotiable is until you talk about it. Okay, but I am talking about the identification of what a non-negotiable is, because sometimes we become unrealistic and demand things that are not even possible from another human being. So look at it carefully. Be sure that what you are demanding is realistic, and then you communicate it, because once you are sure about the thing being a non-negotiable first, then when you communicate it also, you communicate it in a way that the person understands that that thing is important to you. And that thing is important to you. For instance, I think that most of the non-negotiables are things that we should deal with even before we get married. It is not 5 years after you have married me that you are coming to tell me about your non-negotiable. I'm sorry, you are late. It is not 5 years after. Your non-negotiables should come even before we get married, so that both of us will know what we are getting into. Don't become a millionaire 5 years into our marriage and suddenly make rules for me because certain things have suddenly become a non-negotiable. You will frustrate each other. Then if you think deeply about that thing, you realize that it is not something that is a non-negotiable. Probably the thing is a nice to have, and not a non-negotiable. So sometimes we need to define it properly, and if truly it is a non-negotiable, then I shouldn't be getting to know it now. It is something that we should have even trashed out before we even got married. Yeah, that's my view about non-negotiables. Yeah, otherwise we should bend for each other. We should allow room and be accommodating.
Yeah,
I think that, like Lady Rev said, from the onset, the non-negotiables should be made clear. And it's just an issue of making your expectation known. Some non-negotiables may be unrealistic, but it is a non-negotiable for you. So if you come marry me, you go your way, I go my way. Alright. So I remember when we were getting married, I met Lady Rev. It's not very, I always laugh about it. When I met her, when we started going, I'm not even married stage, met the best of Slow, so for Newman now, and I'm not simply to say that I don't intend to marry a pastor.
No.
So those days you are doing working about
is a pastor.
If you know pastor, please leave me alone, please.
Mommy, I think I was prejudiced about
exactly.
pastors.
Her idea mentality about the kind of people she saw.
They were not real, and I can't meet up the demands of a pastor. So,
but now she herself is a lady reverend. So you need to put your non-negotiables on the table, and like you said, along the line, if the reality comes. So when I was called to be ordained, but I had to discuss it with her. He said, "Oh, but you are a different kind of pastor. You are a pastor with a swag. I like you like that." And I was like, you get it. So it is important that we hear our. And if she didn't agree, I wasn't going to be a pastor anyway.
Yeah.
Because I gave her my word from the beginning that you say you don't want to marry a pastor. Okay, I agreed. I want to marry. It was from the beginning. But that was also so most people's non-negotiables come from their worldview and from what they have seen and grown up with. You see, so it all boils down to patient understanding and knowing.
Yes, because Doc, you just said something. She didn't want to marry a pastor, but the non-negotiable changed.
Exactly, that's the point we are making, that it can change based on how you approach it and how, because based on her worldview and how she had seen some pastors behave in her mind, every pastor was like that.
Like that.
Yes.
Was like that.
Exactly.
I believe it's that if you communicate properly and by the way you live, the non-negotiables can change.
Yes.
It can easily change. Another question is, do you think social media or movie influences what we expect from relationships?
It's always
Come back to social media.
pressure.
You see, social media, I think, has corrupted a lot
of people.
So, social media will always highlight luxury, highlights the good parts of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It would highlight romance, the beautiful part of romance.
Everything is okay.
And gifts, and it would highlight vacations and somebody's taking their wife to Atlantis the Palm. But in reality, Atlantis the Palm is costing you about $5,000 a night and you can't afford it. But social media is showing a couple going to Atlantis the Palm. Maybe they only went to rent the room for 30 minutes to shoot that particular video. Okay, social media shows perfection. Because guess what? They film it, they take their time, do the editing, and show you the good parts, But the reality on the ground is a lot of sacrifice, right? Sacrifice and compromise. That's the reality. It's different from social media. And the reality is a lot of hard conversations, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of growth and patience, a lot of prayer and commitment. So please, I think we did this program before. You want to run your relationships based on what you see on social media. It is unrealistic. It is a cliche. It is drama. They are showing you the good sides. And I remember when we spoke, I told you the story about the fact that the grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
No, I think you've said it all. I mean, I think social media is giving us a lot of pressure, making us feel, something that, and I think in the beginning I talked about we comparing ourselves with each other gives a lot of pressure and unrealistic expectations, because we see our schoolmates on social media, we see them maybe doing their housewarming, and you see that they got the new house, maybe they got the new car, all kinds of things. Their child apartments. Sorry?
It could be a rented apartment.
It could be a rented apartment. Their child attends a certain school. For all you know, it is a scholarship, and maybe the person probably workplace is paying for the school.
Exactly.
But hey, if Mama Sarah's daughter attends this school, why does she have two heads? Me too. My daughter must go to the same school. before you realize, one school fees is just causing confusion in the home. Just one term school fees. So we should just take our time to build our own journey. We should not be pressured by anything. A typical example: when we were in UK, Reverend Doctor had a friend. He was a schoolmate, and one time, I think we were about 2 years into our marriage. So we were in Birmingham, and the friend was in London, and we were going for camp meeting. And when we went to camp meeting, the friend had bought this new house, and the friend, hosted us there during the Easter period in the camp meeting. And the place was so nice, the place was so lovely. We were coming from our own corner B in Birmingham and all that. And the place, everything was so perfect. And after many years, he asked me that, so when we went to this so-and-so's house, this person's house, you didn't say that this person is your mate. This person, you were doing the same course with this person in University of Ghana. How come after school they have lived their life in such a way that look at the kind of house they have bought in London of all places? Look at where you have put me. Look at where I am hiding. Why? When they were teaching you, what you didn't listen to the lecture. He was listening to the lecture. Look at my life. Why have you brought me to frustrate me? And things like that. It can easily come from another person. But about 20 years down the line, we still are very good friends with the couple. But you realize that God has been so good that if foolishly you compare yourself with someone too early and don't trust your journey, you will miss the goodness that God really has for you. You will just miss it out, because if at that time I felt frustrated, and now you will see it all the time. People say, I want out, I'm frustrated, I think this is not it. Because for instance, I married him because he was a software engineer. For about 5 years into our marriage, he was not doing the job of a software engineer. It took a while before he got a job that actually was paying what he was worth. During the period, I could have easily gotten frustrated. So I think that in managing our expectations and being patient with each other, it's very, very important, because otherwise, before you realize, the goalpost will shift in a way that you can never bring yourself back to it, because you compare yourself always with social media, things going on in other people's marriages and all.
Okay, so before we continue, I'd like to say to members of City on a Hill, normally at City we do service for 1 hour. I think today we are going 2 hours. So Pastor Kweku asked if you can close City members, okay, officially, and then also those who want to stay on can stay on, and then we continue, because today, like I said, it's a collaboration, and we'll seek the complete conclusion. But Pastor Kweku, close City members, and then still let it continue, the link continue, so that those who want to continue to be with us continue to be with us. And and back to the point that Lady Rev raised, it's very, very important that we are patient with each other and know each other and know where we are going, because the comparison thing doesn't work. It doesn't help.
Thank you, Doc. Another question that we have is, should partners always prioritize each other above friends, family, or work? Why or why not?
Okay, can you say the question again?
Should partners always prioritize each other above friends, family, or work? Why or why not?
Okay, so my principle in life is that God first, family second, church third, the rest follow. Okay, so in a marriage, it's always God first.
Mm-hmm.
It is important that in a relationship, yes, you prioritize yourself above every other thing. Why? Because it is that you live with each other in the same house.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are doing that, you have to do it with wisdom. So, for example, you have a spouse. You wake up in the morning, your spouse is sick and dying, and you are saying that you are leaving her and going to the office. Totally unacceptable. If you were the one sick, you can't even go to the office in the first place. Do you get it? So the reason you have to prioritize yourself about work and other things is because you are seeing the partner as you. So I traveled the last time and I came back. I got home straight from the airport. When I got home last Sunday, Lady Rev is normally the type who will not go to church. When I got home, my wife was in bed. She couldn't get out of bed. I looked at her and said, no. And I had promised a friend who was celebrating her 50th birthday that the moment I land, I'll be at the celebration. She had put me on program. So when I got home, Lady Rev said, oh, you go and deal with that. And I said, no. I bundled her into the car and took her to the hospital. Make sure the doctors took care of her first. Then I came and went to the party. So these are some of the things. We need to have our priorities clear. Your priority is the relationship first. I'm a pastor. But I say to people that you do not leave your sick child at home or your sick wife at home and come to my church. I'll send you back home. The problem is that we confuse God with church. Remember, I said God first, family second, and church third. The confusion is that we confuse God with the church, and so we put church first, family second. Why is God first? It's God we accept. Church is a gathering of Christians. Mm-hmm. The pastors may not like what I'm saying, but it is important that as a man, it is important that as a man, you take care of your family first. It is very important. My bishop preached a sermon the last time, and he said, he quoted the scripture, first the natural before the spiritual. So it is important that we look at these things. Let's be there for one another in a relationship. Let's not put work colleagues first. Let's not put our work first. And I would advise that our partners should also understand that as much as we don't want to put work first and work colleagues first, let's not put them in a situation where they have to choose between us and work. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah. So when we can accommodate, let's accommodate. But let's not also make it a situation where your partner needs you and you're putting work first or you're putting other people first. Thank you, Lady Rev.
I think you have said it all. I mean,
because sometimes we make it look like because of church, everything else must come to a halt. But like you're saying, the emphasis must be our relationship with God.
Okay.
And not with church or not with people, friends. I know one of the ladies are trying to cancel, but she had made up her mind already because of her friends, and they are going out, and the husband doesn't follow her, so she divorced the husband because he's not the social type. So my question is, did you see that aspect of him before you married him, or you are just now seeing it? It's sad, but sometimes we allow these things to break our relationships and to stop us from progressing in our relationship. Another question: is it fair to expect
let me put a scripture which I found.
Okay.
And it's in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12. And basically, this scripture is teaching that we should not destroy a real relationship chasing illusions. But if you're not careful, you'll be chasing illusions out there and you'll be destroying the real relationship. Yeah, I just wanted to make that. Then we take the next question, please.
Thank you. The next question is it fair to expect emotional support from a partner all the time?
I think you should be emotionally stable in yourself. You should be emotionally stable in yourself. And then also, it is good to expect some emotional support from your partner. Being emotionally stable in yourself is good, because what if the emotional support doesn't come? You must survive. You must survive.
Yes.
So we should be quick to offer the emotional support. We should be quick to offer the emotional support, because when it is there, it is good. But we should be steadfast in ourselves, so that in case it does not come, you will still survive. Because sometimes we become overly dependent on our spouses, to the extent that sometimes if they are not there, we cannot do anything. We cannot do anything. There have been some critical decisions in my life that, for some strange reason, God orchestrates it to happen at a time when my husband is not home. And sometimes he's in a part of the world where, when I am awake, he is asleep. The whole thing becomes so confusing. But I think sometimes God does it in a way that you build yourself, you stand by yourself, you take certain decisions. He builds you up to a certain stage, so that you don't become overly dependent. So it is good when you have the emotional support, but I feel that you in yourself, you should stand strong. You should be in a safe place emotionally, have a lot of emotional intelligence, even if it means that today there's a lot of trainings that we can get on Google, YouTube, anywhere, about emotional intelligence. It is good. It's something that we should all, if you haven't yet, we should all learn about. Because when you are emotionally stable, it will not even help you only in your marriage. It will help you in your office. It will help you to deal with people, even in church, everywhere. So I think that emotional stability should come to us first as individuals. Then when we have the support, it is fantastic.
And then also, I spoke earlier about unlimited availability is one of the unrealistic expectations that damage relationships. You see, so if you are not able to do what Lady Rev says, you are putting yourself in a situation where you are expecting unlimited availability and unlimited emotional. It's not possible. Let's be realistic. It's not possible for somebody to solve all your emotional problems. So let's be realistic, and let's deal with it just the way Lady Rev has mentioned.
Thank you. Another question. Then I want us to look at another angle for a few minutes before we go. How do you deal with a partner who just fails to communicate, and we end up having lots of issues unresolved? And when it's brought up, it causes so much arguments. They fail to communicate, and when it's brought up, it becomes a problem that is unresolved. Doc, I want us to look at, Lady Reverend, I want us to look at expectations between parents and children, especially when they're in the youthful stage. We expect so much from them, they expect so much from us. Where do we draw the line in advising parents? Where do we draw the line? Because we are losing a lot of our youth because they feel we don't understand them. And there's too much expectations on them that they can't meet. How do we draw the line?
A very interesting topic. You see, there are things that parents must understand. And for me, I will bring it from the side of the youth. The problem with we parents is that we give birth to these children. We've seen them grow. The person was 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they are 10 years. There's a way you treat a 1 year old. There's a way you treat a 5 year old. There's a way you treat a 10 year old. There's a way you treat a 15 year old. There's a way you treat a 20 year old. I had a hard wake-up call when my two daughters came back from school, and they asked me, "Daddy, do you know what a DJ is?" Yeah, they asked me straight. The thing that I have with my daughters is that we talk about everything, and that's the first level. Every parent must create that level where you can talk about everything with your children. My boy sometimes will go to the mom and tell her everything. So it's like that. We have a way of talking to the children, and they say everything. The day they asked me that question, I think one was 8 years and one was 10 years or so.
Wow.
He gave me a wake-up call. Yeah. And I said, whoa, okay. So what I got to know at 25, my children know at 8 years. Then I asked them, why are they asking me? He said that today they caught 2 people in the school's washroom, and this is what they were doing. I said, okay, we are in the 21st century and the internet age. They can read anything and know anything. So stop seeing them as children. Now, what parents need to understand is that you cannot handle the child at 10 the same way you handle them at 15.
No.
We must start bringing ourselves to understand that the children are growing. See, so when they get to a certain level, so a typical thing we have to deal with in our home, and for this one, I think I'll give examples well, is Lady Rev, when the children were growing, she used to choose their clothes for them. When we are going to church, wear this, don't wear this. And if we get to where the girls are now grown, and they want to dress up, and Lady Rev said, no, wear this, wear that. Charlie, it was a tough time. It was like 2 year period.
Rebelling.
When they were rebelling, always fighting over what they want to wear and what mommy wants them to wear. Mommy's age is past. Mommy used to wear and think that it is nice. This generation may not be nice. Now, one way we solved that problem was one day they were at 8. I think we're going to go to church and wear this. And when I buy clothes for you, people don't want to wear it. Then I called her. Called mommy. I said, Mommy, when you were 18, when you were 15, if your mother chose clothes to wear for you, would you wear it? She smiled. She laughed. Then the reality hit her. Then she told me a story. That there was one day her mother came to her in school. She told her mother not to come to the school because of the way her mother was dressed. So we looked at the issue from that angle and solved a big problem. So what parents need to understand, and this will bring in what we can do to help the youth, is that they are growing. Let's understand it. They are no longer the babies we knew. They are reading. They are learning. They have a way they want their life to go. Let's understand them. Let's see things from their point of view. Then they will open up to us, and then we can advise them.
Yeah.
But if we keep pushing the agenda of this is what I want, and this is how it should be, and this is what you should wear, this is where you should go, we will lose them. There are churches that are losing the youth because we are doing church the same way we used to do it 20 years ago, forgetting that the children that we gave birth to have grown, and they also have a way in which they look at things. So it is important that, yes, respectfully, the young ones as they are growing should not forget. And if you are a youth on this platform, you are listening to me, do not forget that your parents gave birth to you. And do not forget, our elders say that all you don't see standing, they see sitting. So when they are talking, you must listen. And but to the parents also, let's be patient and let's understand the youth from their point of view. Because the way you will solve a problem many years ago is not the way they will solve a problem. Now they have chat GPT, they have Claude, they have Claws, they Google these things, they see how they are getting so many advices. You are not the only advisor. So let's be patient. I think patience is what will solve this problem. And understanding that we are in different wavelengths and different generations. Let's not push our will on them, but let's guide them in implementing their will. The way I studied in school, and I had that problem with my son, the way I studied in school is not, his style of studying is different. And I tried to push him to study the way I studied, and it was problem when I started allowing him to study the way he wants to study. I realized that he became a better student. So it is important that we should be a guide. Yes, that's it. Let's guide them. So you realize that this is what your daughter. So now what the Reverend does that? She realized that this is what the daughter wants to wear. Okay, come. This is what you want to wear, but your breast is showing. So I'd rather you wear it, but you have to find a way of covering the breast parts because you are a lady. And when you go, this is what you wear. When you go, this is how you have to sit, cross your legs so that you're. So she's guiding them, and it's easier that way. Because the colors you like is not the colors they like. The youth of they have wild imaginations. They have wild expectations. So let's be patient with them and draw them into our fold so we can guide them.
No, I think you've said it all. I think you've said it. now it's the era of negotiation and not.
While they are growing, yeah. You can't push. You have to negotiate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you start telling you, "Hey, I'm an adult. I'd like to move out."
And one thing that I realized, Doc, is that we are not realizing that we've given birth to very smart children.
Exactly.
Very smart. So there are some things that they know that they will have to teach us. And let's be humble enough to learn from them.
Yeah, I mean, I was dealing with something. It took me 2 weeks. I couldn't do it. And I think last week or the weekend, like half ago, I was talking to my son. And I told him that I've been trying to deal with this matter. And he said, "Oh, Daddy, within 1 minute, he solved the problem for me.
Yeah.
1 minute. He solved it. He just said, "Oh, do this. It was solved." And we are doing things the old school way.
Old school. Yeah. God help us.
Yeah.
God help us. Thank you.
The only thing we should not tolerate is the disobedience and the disrespect that we shouldn't tolerate.
Yeah.
But if we have a good rapport with them, they'll respect us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you, audience. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are not aware, we have a YouTube channel. It's Rev Sarah Itiajin. So if you go on the YouTube, you see the link for today. For those who are on my contact, I'll send the links to you. Please share. People need this information. You have been blessed by it. Somebody needs it. It's also a form of evangelism.